We're on question 7, and the diagram shows the vectors A and B, and A is along 3 and up 2, so 3, 2, and B is down 1 and along 4, but so we would say 4 minus 1. Work out 4A as a column vector, so that would be 4 times 3 and 2, so that's 4 times 3 is 12, and 4 times 2 is 8, and that's how you do that. Okay, and lastly, A plus C equals 3O. So A was 3, so A equals 3, so A was 3, 2, then plus C, or plus something there and something there, equals 3O. So we know it's got to be 0 here, because 3 plus 0 equals 3, and 2 plus something equals 0, so that's 2 plus minus 2. So it's that. Okay, moving on. Work out 7/10 minus 4/15 divided by 2/3. So this one you'll probably will remember from being a student, a small student even. 10 and 15, what's their lowest common denominator? So if we wrote down the 10 times table, somebody told me about doing this the other day and just leaving out one thing and it being a bit of a disaster. Well, we don't need to go that far, so 30 and 30. So that would be, put 30 there, put 30 there. 10 goes into 30 3 times. 3 times 7 is 21. 15 goes into 30 twice. 2 times 4 is 8. And that leaves you with 13 over 30. So we've done the first bit. The next thing would be 13 over 30 divided by 2/3. And then we're going to do keep, flip, change. So we get 13 over 30 times 3 over 2, which is 39 over 60. And that's your answer. Okay, moving on. Work out all the integer values for which x works. So for this, all we do is we divide through by 4. So we do 12 divided by 4, 12 divided by 4, 4x divided by 4, and 25 divided by 4. So, but we've got to work out integer values. So, but that's 3x, and then 25 divided by 4 is 6.25, but we'll just say it's less than 6. So that is the answer. And here's some information about people who visit a shop. 3/4 of them buy neither a coat nor a dress. So what is 3/4 of 120 is a quarter is 30, so 3 times 30 is 90. So we know outside is 90. And then that means that inside C and D, this bit here, is going to be 30. So 19 people buy a coat. So let's do 30 minus 19 equals 11. And that will tell us the people that only buy a dress. Okay, there are other ways of doing this, but that's the way I do it. Then 14 people buy a dress. So let's do 30 minus 14, and that will tell us how many people buy a coat, and that's 16. So 16 is there. Now 16 plus 11 is 27, and there's got to be 30 in the whole of C and D, so the intersection is 3. And that's one way of doing that. Whoopsie daisy. Done. And done and over. Right. Write about 3 to the power 6 times 3 to the power 5 is in a ratio of 3 to the power 7. So we know 3 to the power 6 times 3 to the power 5. We just add the indices and we get 3 to the power 11 in the ratio 3 to the power 7. Now, according to this, 1 is what 3 to the power 7 is. So we need to work out what we did to get to the power 3 to the power 11. Now, the way we get from 3 to the power 7 to 3 to the power 11 is by timesing it times 3 to the power 4. Now, what is 3 to the power 4? 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, okay, which is 81. So the way that we get from there to there is by timesing 1, which was this, times 81. So our actual ratio is 81 to the power 1. And that is because we can't add on. With ratios, you always have to use a proportion. So you either are dividing or timesing. And in this case, the only way to get from there, 3 to the power 7 to 3 to the 11th, is by timesing. A is 10% more than B. Circle the ratio A to B. So if we made B 100, 10% more than 100 is 111. Is 110. And then if we divide through by 10, we get 11 to 10. And that is the answer. I think there's an easier way of doing that, but that's the way I would do it. Now, lastly, work out 0.47 recurring plus 0.312. So that would be, if we just write this down like this, let's see, so it'd be 0.47777777 plus 0.312, and that gives us lots of 7s at the end. 987 0.789, and that is the only one that represents the same thing.